Welcome to the Website Success Show, the podcast dedicated to helping women in business get more traffic and sales through their website with less reliance on social media and paid ads. I'm Jules White, the founder of the Website Success Hub, and I love helping local and online businesses make more money through their existing website. If you have a business you love, but you don't like the way your website performs, then this is the show for you. So hi, today we're diving into a website conversion audit with Candice from Cuppa. By the end of this episode, hopefully we'll have identified some simple, quick wins for Candice's website. So welcome, Candice. It's great to have you here.
No, thank you for having me.
So before we start, if we were to meet in 6 months' time and you were telling me about the amazing things happening in your business, how would your website be helping with that?
I'd like to think that my website was actually really helpful for my customers to be able to choose the products that are right for them and to find the answers to any questions they'd have. Yeah, I'd like that process to be really smooth for them so that they're not having to waste any time and it's really obvious. That's what I'd like.
Okay. And do you have anything on your site at the moment that does anything like that?
Only that up until just a few weeks ago, we only had 3 products. So that sort of made it quite easy to navigate and find what we needed. I sometimes worry that my website's a little bit too wordy.
Okay.
I did look at a sort of quiz embedded thing, and I think that's probably something that we could add moving forward that would help our customers.
Yeah. Quizzes are great for SEO as well, actually.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You build that into it as well in terms of the questions and the answers and everything that you have.
That's great to hear. Yes. Okay.
So before we then dive into it, and I'll have a little look, I'll share my screen and we'll have a little look at your website. Tell us a little bit about your business and how your website currently sits within your marketing activities.
Okay, so Cuppa launched just over 2 years ago. I blend herbal teas to support women's hormone health and well-being. And as I said, we launched with 3 blends. That was a tea for each step of the day. And we just launched our 4th blend on the back of a very successful crowdfunding campaign, which I ran solely through my own website, which I understand is relatively unique. So I would say from a marketing perspective, it's been pretty important to me. I see it as the shop window. If I had a physical shop, that would be part of it. And those would be the kind of conversations I'd be having face-to-face with clients, I hope is portrayed on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's so important for you because it's where you make your sales as well.
Yeah, it's a massive part of my marketing. I've not really done anything in terms of sort of paid digital Google bits, but I can foresee that being quite poignant to the business in the future. I think it has some good potential.
Yeah, so like running Google ads or something like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always good to get your conversions working really well and get a little bit of SEO in place as well before you then dive into ads. I'm always about making sure that everything's working before you start spending money on ads.
Yeah, and I was sort of on a similar path to you. The other thing that I've been working on is my kind of email marketing and sort of driving that into the website, making sure all of those flows working properly before we put any money behind anything that's going to drive into the website and onto a sign-up form. Just sort of making sure that that's all quite smooth, really. I've done quite a lot of work on sort of blogs. There are a million blogs on my website, and I've tried to use sort of SEO keyword-friendly search optimizing things, but it's not my area of expertise at all.
Right? Absolutely. Okay, well, let me share my screen. And yes, I can see that you have been creating blogs. That's quite a good place to start, actually. So let's share my screen. Lovely. Okay, so whenever I look at a site, I always look at it, even if I'm thinking conversions, I will always look at the SEO part of it as well, because it goes so hand in hand. It really does. So when I was looking at your site, what's the things I will always do is I always look at what Google is actually indexing on your site from the front end, what we can see anyway. So I will always go to Google, type in the address bar at the top here, and I'll type site, and then the domain name.
Yeah.
And it comes up with this little tool here where it says you've got 965 pages indexed in Google, which is fantastic. That's something that it's a big website. It's good. Do you think you've got 900 blogs-ish? Obviously, you've got product pages and category pages.
Yeah, I probably well, I don't know if it's full 900 blogs, but yeah, I've got different category pages and what have you.
Yeah.
So to categorize the blogs to try it again, because I had I noticed that I've had women that I was meeting face to face that were talking to me about specific things.
Yeah.
I thought if I categorized them, that would be much more user friendly for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You're filtering, I guess, really by condition and by problem, which is a great idea. I think anything you can do, as you say, if you can make it easier for people to navigate your website and understand how you can help them, then that's always going to be a good thing.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. So with your blogs, do you have a kind of a strategy around what particular keywords you're going after or anything like that? That's more sort of diving into SEO.
So when I would finish an event, I would keep a note of the questions that people had asked me. So I knew that they were real customer questions and I was able to turn those into a piece of content. But I was also then taking that question and putting it into Google and just seeing what other questions were kind of coming up and using Google as a sort of term to look at other things that people were searching for.
Yeah.
And I was using askthepublic.com and as something else similar to that, where again, I was then taking some of those keywords and putting them in and just seeing what other things people were searching for. I guess one of the benefits I have is that I am my target audience.
Yeah.
So if somebody's asking me or somebody's Googling it, I'm also thinking similar things. So sort of helped in that way. And that's just given me lots of content ideas, really.
Yeah, it's really good to do that. And certainly that's a great starting place, is the things that your customers are actually asking you, definitely. So when I looked at from the outside, when I was looking at the amount of traffic that you're getting from Google, it appears that you're not getting that much traffic from Google. You've got a lot of keywords that are associated with your site. So if we were working together, if you were a client of mine, we'd be looking at how we can get backlinks to your content, which I don't know if you've ever done anything around PR or digital PR.
Yeah, and I've really put quite a bit of effort into it last year. So I'm hoping what you see is what I've managed to in terms of getting PR.
Yeah. I mean, it's
authority.
Yeah, that is so important. And especially as we are moving more into AI search, then being that authority on your topics is so, so important. Sometimes when we're doing PR, we don't necessarily think about, okay, can I get a backlink from that? So sometimes it's just a case of reaching out and just thinking sort of strategically about, okay, mate, where could I get backlinks really? But that's something that is not necessarily something you would do immediately if you were thinking about how can I use this amazing content I've already got to get more traffic to my site.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've got 2,000 keywords is really good. It means you've got a lot of potential there. And that's where I really love diving in, where people have got content there. They have been live for a while. The site's been live for a while and you've got that potential.
Okay.
I just had a little look. I was thinking, okay, what would be a good page for us to look at and kind of look at the structure of it. I've filtered this. So this isn't all of your keywords. I was looking for keywords that had a commercial intent. So where people are actually trying to buy something or they're looking for more information about buying something. And I looked for, the ones that have got the most sort of search volume. And I was looking through this list. This is kind of your average position. And these tools are never 100%. So it's kind of given us an idea of where you are. So I'm looking for something where obviously it's commercial intent. It's got a fairly low difficulty score. So it's not really too difficult to actually rank for that. Got a decent number of searches a month. 590 searches a month is certainly not to be sniffed at really. And then you're in position 24 for that. So that's something like if I was looking at all of these numbers here, I'd be thinking it was these were both the same sort of search intent. So T for constipation and T to drink for constipation. You're in position 16 and 24. It's around 17, 18, the difficulty, which is not too difficult. And then I looked at what page this was. And obviously this is your page that about 10 herbal teas for constipation relief.
Yeah.
So if I was looking at this blog post and looking at how we could optimize this for you for conversions, one of the things I would probably do immediately in here is create your own kind of banner ad. So is there one particular tea of yours that relates to constipation? I don't know what, we've ended up talking about food, that subject. Yeah, absolutely. If that's what people are looking for.
I would probably say the hydrate would be your sort of go-to with that one. But yeah, maybe the Energize, the hibiscus and the Energize would also support you in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I'm just thinking of, okay, if you can then just do a little bit to this blog post to get a bit more traffic coming through it. So getting you up the ranking. So you're not in position 24 or 16, you're moving on to page 1 where that really starts to make a difference. And then you can think about, okay, how can we get that even higher up the search ranking? But then thinking about, okay, if somebody's landing on this, it was a commercial intent. So they want something that's going to help them. They want a tea that's going to help them with constipation. And if you've got something that will solve that problem, having that here and creating it more like a banner ad for yourself.
Okay,
So,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So having it almost, you could have it if you're trying to grow your email list, you could have it as like a content update where somebody can read about the other things.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm just about to implement is a kind of, I guess, like a lead magnet, I suppose you would call it.
Yeah.
So on some of the pages, I was going to add a pop-up that was unique to certain blogs.
Yes.
So that, it would give a sign-up discount, or I've done a sort of checklist for perimenopause symptoms that I thought might entice people to want to sign up. So that, I suppose, would be similar to that sort of banner ad where you're giving a different call to action. Am I correct in understanding?
Yeah. So I would be thinking about, obviously, when I look into my keyword research tools, it makes it a bit easier because I can see that that's got a commercial intent behind that search. But what you could do, if you're not sure about that, you could go to Google. If you were thinking about, okay, a tea, like if somebody was Googling tea to help with constipation, type that into Google and see what Google is showing. And if Google is showing lots of shopping results, it could be blogs, it might be showing, but actually it's showing shopping results as well, then Google thinks people are looking to buy a herbal tea.
Okay.
It isn't more sort of informational inquiries where a blog maybe would lead to another blog or would lead to a PDF download or something like that. If this blog is actually got a commercial intent, then that's where it's really good to lead into a page that will actually make a sale.
Okay.
So I would definitely be thinking about that. And whether you do pop-ups or a banner ad within your own content, you have to look at how pop-ups work for your business. One thing I would definitely say, if you're going to have a pop-up on any page, make sure it waits at least 10 seconds once that page is loaded before the pop-up comes up.
Okay, yeah.
Who's not keen on pop-ups? I mean, most people aren't keen on pop-ups in general, I think, really.
Especially, I suppose, if they're reading an article, they maybe want to actually read it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I could see really standing out on this page is having something where you do almost create like your own ad in Canvas.
Post 15% off your first order or something.
I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking here, not even necessarily a discount code. I'm thinking of something where it actually says hydrate tea, fantastic for constipation. Something even as simple as that actually you are putting that point across. Or you could even have something within an image that shows the ingredient in that will help with constipation.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But that could be quite eye-catchy, and you could have it somewhere in the middle of your content, so you could break up your content with that.
Yeah.
Then have it towards the bottom of the page as well. So I would definitely be thinking about how can you help this blog post lead to somebody buying one of your teas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's sort of one way you could immediately increase the conversions on those particular blog pages where you know that this is a direct lead to a sale if somebody's looking for a tea.
How do I check? Obviously, you've got some sort of system there that shows you the ones that are ranking sort of with intent, with ease. How do I know that as a novice?
So there's different things you can do to help with this. Have you got Google Search Console set up on your website?
Yeah.
So Google Search Console will give you an idea of the search terms that you're already showing up for. So when I looked at this, these are actually these keywords that you're already showing up for. So you should be able to see in your Google Search Console what queries you're showing up for.
Yeah.
And what pages those queries relate to. So that's a good place to start. It will also give you an average position as well. You'll see that in Google Search Console. If you're seeing something that you're getting a lot of impressions for and you are between positions 9 and 25 are the ones that I would be focusing on first, because that means if it's positions 11, then you're just off of page 1 and doing just a little bit of tweaking can make all the difference really. And then there are tools that you can use. There's a couple of free tools. I use one that you can do a certain amount of searches free, and it is KW Finder. That's what we call it. But it's mangles.com. And this is one where you can go in. You can't do many searches a day, but you can go in and create a free account, and it gives you an idea of the search difficulty in there as well, and the amount of search volumes and that kind of thing as well. So you would just set it, the country is UK, and then go in and then look for those ones where the difficulty isn't so high and where actually there's some search volume really. And that is something that's getting the balance between things that are, because you might think, oh yeah, that's getting 3,000 searches a month, so I'm going to go after that one. But if it's got a really high difficulty, you're probably better off going after even the ones that have got 50 searches a month, but it's a really low difficulty. That's more sort of low hanging fruit there, really.
Yeah,
especially if Google is already associating with your site, and you're not that far off of getting onto page one, and then hopefully then climbing up those rankings.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. But focusing on those commercial pages first, so the ones where both your product pages and the ones where it's a blog, but people are really looking to buy something.
Yeah.
So if we were coming into your homepage, one of the things that we always say when we're thinking about conversion and thinking about people actually taking the action we want them to on our page is when they come in, we want them to understand ideally within about 3 seconds, what we do, how we're going to make their life better, and what they need to do to get it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that, thinking about this sort of hero section here, I know it doesn't always come up with the same thing, does it? You must have something. Is it Shopify?
It's Shopify. I can't remember the theme, but that should be sort of moving around. So every time you log on, it should be something slightly different.
Let's have a little look. Yes, I think that's what it does do, isn't it? Yeah, so it does it. It's not one that, it's not like a banner thing where it flips around. It's one that it does look different each time you come in.
Yeah, I believe so.
Actually, then it has switched this way as well.
Yeah, and with some new things in just the last month. So obviously we've got a new blend. So those are 2 new sort of announcements, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Have you thought about like the customer journey of people coming in and what their level of knowledge about you is and where they're likely to have come from and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and I think probably up until quite recently, I pretty much knew who my customers were, because when you're only 2 years into business, like there's not huge numbers of people buying from you. That has changed in the last quarter. I guess initially my assumption is most people are finding me through a face-to-face event or through social media where I'm doing a lot of talking about. So I already know that that's where the majority of my customers are coming from.
Yeah.
So yeah, I probably need to do some more work on. And we've just started doing some meta ads, again, literally in the last 7 days. I'm imagining that I'm going to need to make some tweaks and changes to my website to sort of convert those people differently.
Yeah. Have you got a particular page that the ads are coming into on your site?
I'm testing some different pages, but we're mostly driving them to the wellness collection.
Yeah.
Rather than the homepage.
Yeah. That sounds like a good idea, having something specific that you are driving them to, really. So, I mean, it's worth thinking about that. It's worth thinking about what, as people come into the homepage, how do they know they're in the right place? How do they immediately know how you're going to help them? And it's not necessarily easy to get that there. Like, if people happen to come in at the right moment that they're coming in, and I think I just saw one there of teas for hormonal health. Whether there's a way that you could then have something that covers anything when people come in, so teas for women's hormonal health or something like that.
Suggest that banner picture being that one and not having the different.
I mean, the problem is if they come in at that right one, whereas actually if you can have something that's really clear, and then you could still get these things across, but maybe just slightly further down the page.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes in and they miss this, they don't see this keyword, they may not then realize that you also sell that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's certainly worth thinking about. And you can install heat maps on your site as well that can then help you to understand what action people are taking. It's not, which is not always that easy to test if you've then got different things happening within the site.
Yes, I've actually tried that on the Microsoft Gravity or something.
Yeah. But it's hard when you've got different things happening. It's not that easy then. Whereas actually the thing that we really need when people come into our site is clarity. I think often we can end up looking at our site and getting a bit bored with it and thinking, I need to change it. I need to make it more dynamic and I need to have different things happening. Whereas actually sometimes the clarity there is more likely then to help people. So yeah, it's certainly worth thinking about, because this hero section here is our most important section of our whole website. Realistically, everything else does matter, but the homepage hero section is one of the key places to grab people. And just with everything that we're trying to do on our sites, we're just trying to get people to keep scrolling to the next section and then the next section and then the next section until they take the action that we want them to take.
Okay.
And it's not always as easy. Homepages are often almost like a lobby section where people can go off in different directions, really. So there's not always one clear call to action that you want people to take. it could be, you know, you could have links to your blogs and things like that here as well. But it's something that it's good to have an idea of what you would like people to do when they come through your home. Yeah, definitely. I like the video in the background. I love this.
Yeah. So just because people were asking me, how long do you brew it for?
It itself makes it really clear.
Yeah.
What you do as
I've
well.
seen some websites, and they must have a different theme to me, where the founder is literally talking through the product you're looking at. I've seen it on sort of makeup websites. As I really have a vision that would be amazing to have on the site. I just would need to change everything. I'm not ready to do that yet.
Is there not a way you can embed a video?
I don't know is the honest answer.
Because
it would really work well. I've been exploring live shopping as an option through your website. Yeah. And one of the apps I was looking at allows you to have sort of off-cloud storage for the videos that you then create. So you could talk about your product, put the live video, so it's real interactive, what's happening there in the time. And it can go on as a little sort of thumbnail onto your product pages.
Yeah.
Just moving forward in my ideas for that and how that would work in a strategy. But I think that would really work if you've got somebody talking about the product.
Definitely. So having what we call a video sales letter on there is one of the key things that you can do for a website to really make a difference, actually.
Yeah.
So having that in there, that could be a way to then solve that problem of having the different things happening there in the hero section as well. What I would suggest is whatever you decide to do here, have one H1 heading. So if you're looking at the structure of your site, and again, this is going back more into SEO, then having just one H1 heading, and maybe I would suggest having that as herbal teas for women's hormonal health, or enhance your hormones, or supporting your hormone health, depending on what you want your homepage to rank for. What's the most important thing you want to rank for? Have that as the H1 heading there, if it naturally makes sense, because sometimes we have to do what makes sense for a human, and it doesn't always work for SEO, really. But yeah, I would definitely think about that. There's so many different things that you could do, because there's so much potential there. You've got so much content, and your site's lovely. It just looks beautiful, and it's nice to use. You've got great content on there. So I think just finding the ways that you can get some of that traffic from Google, and yeah, definitely, as I say, you've got a lot of potential there for just tweaks that could help.
That's good. Yeah.
Brilliant. So yeah, I think probably the main things to do, if you were thinking about creating a VSL, so like a video sales letter, ideally what you want it to have is it muted but auto playing, and have captions on it. Yeah. And that way, and I just put some on my website, and I actually have, like, the first still is a picture, so either a picture explaining what it is, or I'm trying to think how to describe it. So you basically, to help people to want to click to the video. Yeah. But I would actually then add a play button onto it, so people immediately know it's a video. Whether you do that and you have,
I know exactly what you mean, because I've added some of those to my blog.
Yeah,
in my much earlier blogs, where I was doing some stuff on YouTube, and I was putting the video in. It just got too much for me to manage all the social media platforms, SEO, and it just got too much. So there is I know exactly what you mean, and it had like a thumbnail picture and the YouTube kind of play.
I mean, I love that. I love the fact that you've got some content on YouTube, because YouTube is also really good for searchability. So it's something that actually, if you can find ways to get that onto there as well, then
do more of. I need to put all my energy into the one I loved the most, is what I actually happened.
Yeah. I mean, the benefit of doing things for your own website is it's content you own. So the algorithm can take that away, and it's something where you're actually building up something that can be more sustainable, like a sustainable way to market your business in the future, really. So I, as long-term listeners will know, that actually I go on about it so much, of creating content for our own domain first, and then using that to then create the content.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And especially when it is an e-commerce site, where it's really important that your website is set up so that you are actually getting those extra sales going through as well, really. So any questions? What's kind of stands out from what we've talked about so far? Anything in particular?
So just to recap, sort of focusing on those higher sort of ranking, lower, but with content intent for purchase, and kind of tweaking those, making those with a bit more of a call to action.
Yeah.
And then changing that sort of banner landing bit, so that it's really clear what I'm offering and why and how.
Yeah, I think so.
inspiring.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the benefits. So what's the benefits of people then, not necessarily the features, but the benefits of people then drinking the tea.
Okay, I can do that.
Fantastic. So if this has made you think about how you'd like to improve your website and you just need some help and guidance, then I will leave a link in the show notes to book a discovery call with me, or you can go straight to booking a power hour. We can get a session together similar to this, just a little bit audit to look at the most important things to focus on first. Before we finish, Candice, I'd love you to just give yourself another little shout out and let everyone know again what you're all about, what you do, and most importantly, where they can connect with you and find out more.
Yep. So I'm Candy, and you can find me. I'm probably hanging out mostly on Instagram, and I'm mother_Cuppa. Or feel free, if you're coming and having a look at the website, if you've got any questions, you can just ping me an email from there. I've enjoyed getting to know people as I've gone on this journey.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for listening, and thanks, Candy, for being here. And we'll see you soon. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Website Success Show. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It helps others find the show. If you're ready to make your website work harder for you, grab my free beginner's guide to SEO. It's packed with simple, actionable tips to help you get started improving your website's visibility and attracting your dream client. Head to thewebsitesuccesshub.com/start to download it and take the guesswork out of creating a website that works for your business.